The night my son compared me to his mother-in-law at my own dinner table, I learned that some words are never forgotten. Some words sink into your chest like knives and stay there forever, reminding you of who he thought he was and who you truly are. My name is Rebecca Sullivan. I am 54 years old, and what I am about to tell you changed the way I understand a mother's love forever. But before we get to that February night, you need to know my full story. You need to know who I was before I became the invisible mother everyone took for granted. I was born in a small town outside of Pittsburgh 54 years ago, in a tiny house with thin walls where the smell of fresh brewed coffee and toasted bread was the only promise that everything would be okay. My mother worked cleaning executive homes so I could go to school in a pressed uniform. My father left when I was 7. We never heard from him again. From a very young age, I learned something that marked my entire life. Women like us didn't have the right to complain. We worked, we survived, we kept quiet. That was our inheritance. How wrong we were. I met Robert, my son's father, when I was 23. He was handsome, with an easy smile and words that sounded like promises. He swore we'd have our own house, vacations, stability. I believed him. The only good thing Robert gave me was Adam. My son was born on a rainy October morning. When the nurse put him in my arms, I felt for the first time in my life that I had an absolute purpose. When Adam was 5, Robert decided that fatherhood wasn't for him. He left $500 on the table and a note. "Forgive me, I'm not the man you need." He left with a younger woman, no stretch marks, no dark circles under her eyes, no child to feed. I was left alone, completely alone at 25, with no savings and a 5-year-old asking every night, "Where's Daddy?" And I would answer, "Mom will always be here." I kept that promise. I worked every job I could find. I was a cashier, a secretary, a sales clerk, an office manager. Adam always had what he needed. His school supplies were complete, his clothes were clean, his shoes were new. I wore mine until the soles peeled off. Adam was a sweet boy. He would hug me every night and say, "Mom, when I grow up, I'm gonna buy you a huge house. You'll never have to work this hard again." And I believed him. Because that's what mothers do. At 18, he got into a state university. I paid for everything I could, his books, his commute, even his pocket money. Adam would tell me, "Someday I'll pay you back every cent." I never asked for anything in return. At 23, he met Vanessa. She was beautiful, well-dressed, with that air of someone who has never had to worry about anything. From the first moment, I knew she didn't want me around. I saw it in her eyes, in the way she looked me up and down, judging me. Vanessa came from money. Her father owned an import-export business. Her mother, Mrs. Christine Montgomery, wore designer labels, traveled to Europe, and lived in a mansion with a pool. I had rough hands from years of work, and a small condo I had bought by saving every penny. They got married 2 years later. I contributed $5,000 I had saved to fix my roof. That money went toward a 5-tier cake and more flowers than a garden. No one thanked me. In the official wedding photos, I appear in exactly 3. 3 photos out of 200. After the wedding, the trouble started. Adam quit one job after another. Vanessa never worked. They didn't have enough to pay rent. That's when I made the biggest mistake of my life. With my last savings and a small loan, I bought a small 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo. I bought it thinking of them. I handed the keys to Adam. "It's yours, son. I only ask that you pay a symbolic rent, $500 a month, just to cover the HOA fees and property taxes." Adam hugged me tight. "Mom, you're incredible. In 6 months, I'll have a better job, and I'll pay you back everything at once. I swear." I believed him. 6 months passed. No payment. "Give me a little more time, Mom." An entire year passed. 12 months without a single dollar. Things have been tight with the house expenses. "Give me a few more months." A second year passed. 24 months. $12,000 that I never saw. Money I desperately needed because my job didn't pay well, my car was breaking down, and my knees ached, but I kept quiet because I was afraid of losing my son. During those 2 years, I invited them over for dinner every 2 weeks. Vanessa hardly ever ate. Adam ate quickly while staring at his phone. I also visited them at the condo. My condo, Vanessa would receive me with total indifference. She never offered me a glass of water, let alone coffee. Once, I showed up unannounced with some groceries. Vanessa opened the door just a crack. "What are you doing here?" "Adam isn't home. Next time, text before you come," and she slammed the door in my face. Things got worse. Adam stopped calling me Mom. He started calling me Rebecca. He stopped visiting. Vanessa's parents filled that void. They invited him over every weekend, bought him clothes, treated him like the son they never had. And Adam let himself be bought. Then came February. I called them a week in advance. "Can you come over Saturday? I want to cook something special." Adam hesitated. "Fine, but only if it's early." I spent the whole week planning. I bought the best ingredients: a high-end prime rib roast, organic vegetables, artisanal seasonings. On Saturday, I cleaned the house like never before. I put out my mother's lace tablecloth. I brought out the good china. I got dressed up. They arrived late, an hour late without a word. Vanessa looked annoyed. Adam was on his phone. They barely greeted me. I served the dinner, a roast that had taken me hours to prepare. Vanessa looked at the plate as if it were poison. "I'm not hungry. I'm watching my weight." Adam took 2 bites without looking up. I tried to make conversation. "How's work, son?" Adam looked at me with irritation. "I already told you I'm in a selection process, Mom. Don't pressure me." Vanessa let out a dry laugh. "Your mother just doesn't understand how things work now, babe. In her day, it was different." I swallowed hard, took a deep breath. I said nothing. And then Adam said the words that broke me. "You aren't even half the woman my mother-in-law is." Silence filled the room like ice water. Vanessa smiled a small, satisfied, cruel smile. Something inside me snapped. For 2 years, I had been silent. I had swallowed my pride. I had allowed them to treat me like a servant. But that sentence was the straw that broke the camel's back. I stood up slowly, pushing my chair back. The sound of the wood against the floor was the only thing heard. I looked my son straight in the eyes and said in a calm but firm voice, "In that case, she can start paying your rent." Vanessa stopped smiling. Her face froze. "Rent?" she asked with a trembling voice. "What rent?" Adam went pale, and I realized he had never told his wife the truth. "The rent for the condo you live in," I said calmly. "The condo I bought with my life savings. The condo I lent you 2 years ago on the condition that you pay $500 a month. The condo I haven't received a single cent for in 24 months. Vanessa turned to Adam in a fury. "What is she talking about? What is this? You told me this condo was yours, that you bought it." Adam didn't answer. He looked down. "Answer me, Adam," Vanessa insisted, her voice rising. "Is that condo yours or not?" The silence was heavy. I remained standing, watching the scene as if it were a play. Finally, Adam looked up. "The condo belongs to my mom. She lent it to us. It was supposed to be temporary." "Temporary?" Vanessa gasped. 2 years is temporary? Why did you never tell me we had to pay rent? Why did you lie to me?" "Because I knew you'd get angry. Because I knew you wouldn't want to live somewhere that wasn't ours." Vanessa stood up so fast her chair almost fell. "I've been bragging about that condo on social media for 2 years. I told my whole family you bought it." "Oh my God, how embarrassing." Vanessa wasn't upset about the lie. She was upset because she looked foolish. "Vanessa, please," Adam tried. "Don't please me. Do you know how many times I bragged about that place, and it turns out we've been living on charity?" The word hurt. That's how she saw my sacrifice. As charity. As a handout. "It's not charity," I said firmly. "It's a loan you should have paid $500 a month, $12,000 in total that I never saw." Vanessa looked at me with disdain. "And why did you never say anything? Why did you wait until now?" "Because I believed in my son's promise. Because every time I asked, he begged for more time, and like an idiot, I believed him. Because that's what mothers do. We trust, even when we shouldn't." Adam finally found his voice. "Mom, this is ridiculous. Seriously? You're going to charge your own son? I thought you loved me." Manipulation disguised as love. Emotional blackmail wrapped in victimhood. "Precisely because I love you, I lent you that condo. Precisely because I love you, I agreed to wait. Precisely because I love you, I stayed quiet while you lived comfortably in a place I am paying for. While you compare me to your mother-in-law as if I'm worth nothing." Vanessa let out a bitter laugh. "Don't play the martyr. If it bothered you so much, you should have said something. You're right. I should have said something. I should have set boundaries. I should have demanded respect. But I was too busy being the perfect mother, the mother who gives everything and asks for nothing, the invisible mother. Adam stood up, his face red with anger. You know what? You're right. We're a burden. We'll leave. We don't need your condo, or your food, or anything of yours. Perfect. You have 30 days to vacate. That's the law. Vanessa grabbed her purse. We don't need 30 days. My parents have properties. We can leave tomorrow morning. As you wish. Adam looked at me with a mix of rage and pain. Vanessa's mother would never have done this to us. She knows what it means to be family. Those words were a knife straight to the heart. Then go to her. Go to the family that knows how to be one. I was just the fool who thought a mother's love was enough. Vanessa pulled Adam by the arm. Let's go. We have nothing left to do here. They headed for the door. Adam stopped for a moment, but Vanessa pulled harder, and they left, leaving the door wide open. I stood there in my dining room, looking at the plates full of food no one had touched, the expensive roast, the fresh flowers, my mother's tablecloth, everything intact, everything useless. I sat down slowly, feeling like I was 100 years old, and for the first time in 25 years, I didn't cry. There was something deeper than tears, an emptiness so large that even crying couldn't fill it. I looked at the clock. 8:30 p.m., less than an hour to destroy 25 years of sacrifice, 1 hour to realize I had confused love with an absence of dignity. I took my plate of roast and ate slowly, savoring every bite. Because that flavor was mine. That recipe was mine. That dignity I had just recovered was mine. I didn't know if I had done the right thing. I didn't know if Adam would come back, but I knew one thing. For the first time in years, I had spoken the truth. I had set boundaries, and I had defended my worth. And that felt like freedom. But what happened in the following days would teach me that freedom has a price. The next 3 days were the quietest of my life. A heavy, dense silence that filled every corner of my home. I checked my phone 1,000 times, hoping for a call from Adam, an apology, an explanation, something. But the screen remained dark and silent. I kept going to work. I smiled when necessary. I answered emails, filed documents. No one in the office knew I was falling apart inside. No one knew that every time I went to the restroom, I locked myself in a stall and just sat there breathing deeply, trying not to collapse. The nights were worse. I went to bed early just to avoid facing the silence, but I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, replaying every word I had said. Had I been too harsh? Had I overreacted? Had I lost my son over a measly $500 a month? Guilt is a slow poison. It enters your veins and kills you bit by bit, whispering that it's all your fault, that you're the bad one, that a good mother wouldn't have charged her son, that a good mother would have stayed quiet and kept smiling. But then I remembered his face when he compared me to Christine. I remembered Vanessa's smile, and the guilt mixed with something stronger. Rage. A rage I had been suppressing for years that was finally surfacing. 4 days after the dinner, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered with my heart pounding, hoping it was Adam calling from another phone. Mrs. Sullivan? It was a woman's voice I didn't recognize. Professional, cold. Yes, this is she. This is Sarah Higgins, from the law firm of Sterling and Associates. I am calling on behalf of my client, Mr. Adam Miller. A knot formed in my stomach. A lawyer. Why did Adam need a lawyer? My client has requested that I inform you he will be vacating the property located at 2112 North Lincoln Avenue, Unit 304, within a period not exceeding 15 days. Additionally, he requests that you do not appear at said property during the moving process. The words hit me like stones. Adam hadn't just ignored my calls, he had hired a lawyer to speak for him, as if I were a stranger, a threat. Are you telling me my son hired a lawyer so he wouldn't have to talk to me? I asked, my voice trembling. The lawyer maintained her professional tone. I am merely conveying my client's message, Mrs. Sullivan. He also requested I inform you that he and his wife consider your actions hostile and therefore prefer to maintain their distance during this process. Hostile. I repeated the word as if it were venom in my mouth. I acted hostile for asking them to pay what they owed? It is not my place to comment on the matter, Mrs. Sullivan. I am simply carrying out my client's instructions. Do you have any questions? I had 1,000 questions. How did we get to this? When did my son become this person? Why am I talking to a lawyer instead of him? But all I said was, no, I have no questions. Perfect. I will send you an email confirming this conversation. Have a good day. She hung up. I sat there in my living room holding the phone, feeling more alone than ever. My son had hired a lawyer. My son had turned me into his enemy and didn't even have the courage to tell me himself. That night, I couldn't eat. I sat in front of the TV watching programs I didn't process. Images flashed before my eyes, but they didn't reach my brain. I could only think of one thing. At what point did I lose my son? The 5th day, I received the email from the lawyer. It was formal, cold, full of legal jargon. But what hurt most was the signature at the end. On behalf of our client, Mr. Adam Miller. He hadn't even put your son, just his name, as if he wanted to erase the bond that united us. That afternoon, I needed to talk to someone. I called my cousin Lucy, the only close family I had left. We had grown apart over the years, but she had always been a wise woman, the kind who tells the truth even when it hurts. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop near her house. Lucy arrived with her gray hair and eyes full of concern. Rebecca, what happened? You sounded terrible on the phone. I told her everything. The dinner, the comparison to Christine, the revelation about the condo, the fight, the lawyer. It poured out of me like a river that had been dammed for too long. Lucy listened in silence, holding my hand across the table. When I finished, I expected her to tell me I had done wrong, that a mother doesn't do that I should have had more patience. But what she said surprised me. It's about time, she said simply. What? It was about time you set boundaries, Rebecca. I've watched for years as that boy squeezed you like a lemon, as that woman treated you like trash, and you stayed silent. Always silent, always justifying him. He's my son, Lucy. I know. But that doesn't give him the right to treat you like that. A mother's love doesn't mean being a doormat. It doesn't mean letting them trample you over and over without saying a word. Her words made me cry. I cried there in the coffee shop, not caring that people were looking. I cried for all the years I had swallowed the pain. I cried for the mother I had been and for the woman I had stopped being in the process. What if I lose him forever? I asked through tears. Lucy squeezed my hand. Listen to me, Becky. If you lose him for asking for respect, then he was already lost a long time ago. A son who only loves you when you're quiet and giving him everything is not a son. He's a parasite. The word shocked me, but there was truth in it. A painful truth I had been avoiding for years. But Christine didn't raise him. Christine didn't sacrifice for him, Lucy interrupted firmly. Christine only showed up when he was grown and started buying him with gifts and comforts. That's not love, Rebecca. That's buying loyalty. That phrase stuck with me. Buying loyalty. That was exactly what had happened. Vanessa's parents had bought my son's affection with things I could never give him. Designer clothes, trips, expensive dinners, professional connections. And Adam, my Adam, had let himself be bought. The next few days were a slow torture. I knew Adam and Vanessa were at the condo packing, but I didn't dare go. First, because the lawyer told me not to. Second, because I was afraid. Afraid of seeing them. Afraid of what I might say. Afraid of breaking down in front of them. On day 12, my phone rang. It was a familiar number. My heart leaped. It was Adam. After nearly 2 weeks of silence, my son was finally calling. I answered with trembling hands. Adam? His voice was distant, cold. Hi. Just calling to let you know we're finished packing. We'll leave the keys in the mailbox tomorrow morning. Son, wait. Can we talk? There's nothing to talk about. His tone was sharp. You made your choice. Now live with it. Adam, please. I only wanted. What did you want, Mom? To humiliate me in front of my wife? To show that you had the power? Well, congratulations. You did it. I hope you're happy. His words were like slaps. I never wanted to humiliate you. I only wanted you to keep your word. Whatever, he replied with disdain. By the way, there's some damage in the condo. A stain on the bedroom carpet, a scratch on the closet door, normal wear and tear. I hope you aren't going to try and charge us for that too. The sarcasm in his voice hurt more than any scream. This wasn't my son. This was a stranger speaking to me with contempt. I don't care about the damage. I said with a broken voice. I care about you. I care that you understand why I did what I did. What I understand, he said slowly, is that you traded me for money. That a measly $500 was more important to you than your own son. Goodbye, Rebecca. A real mother wouldn't have done what you did. He hung up. I sat there holding the dead phone against my ear, feeling my world shatter. Adam had said goodbye, not see you later, not talk soon. Goodbye. As if it were forever. The next day, I went to the condo. The keys were in the mailbox, just as Adam said. I walked up the stairs slowly, each step weighing on me like I was carrying lead. I opened the door. The condo was empty. Completely empty. They had taken everything. The furniture, the curtains, even the light bulbs from some lamps. The walls had holes where pictures used to be. The floor was scuffed and dirty. I walked through the empty rooms. My footsteps echoed. In the master bedroom, I saw the stain Adam had mentioned. It was large, dark brown, as if something had been spilled and never cleaned. But what impacted me most was what I found in the kitchen. On the counter was a note. I recognized it immediately. It was my handwriting. It was the note I had written 2 years ago when I gave my son the keys. To my beloved son, may this place be the start of your happiness. With all my love, Mom. They had left the note there on purpose, as a final message, a way of telling me my love meant nothing. I picked up the note with shaking hands. Tears finally came. I cried there, in that empty kitchen, holding a piece of paper that represented everything I had lost. But then I saw something else. Behind where the refrigerator had been, there were trash bags, many of them, filled to bursting. They had left without even taking out the trash. I approached. The smell was terrible. And then, out of pure curiosity, or perhaps masochism, I opened one of the bags. What I found inside chilled me and made me realize there was much more to this story than I imagined. Inside the trash bag were receipts, piles of receipts. I pulled them out one by one, unable to believe my eyes. A receipt from a French restaurant in the most expensive part of town, $2,300 for a single dinner. Date, 3 months ago. Another receipt from a designer clothing store, $1,800 for a dress. Date, 2 months ago. Plane tickets to the Bahamas, $4,200 for 2 people. Date, 6 weeks ago. I kept pulling out receipts. Jewelry, brand name shoes, luxury bags, spa treatments, an exclusive gym membership. Each receipt was like a slap. Each number was like a knife in my gut. I sat on the floor of that empty kitchen, surrounded by trash and receipts, doing mental math. In the last 3 months alone, Adam and Vanessa had spent over $20,000 on luxuries. $20,000 while they owed me $12,000 in rent. While I was eating PB&Js to stretch my paycheck. While my car was falling apart and I didn't have the money to fix it. But the worst wasn't the receipts. The worst was what I found at the bottom of another bag, a manila envelope. I opened it with trembling fingers. Inside were bank statements, for an account in Adam's name. I reviewed them one by one, regular deposits, large ones, very large ones. Adam had been receiving money from Vanessa's parents, transfers of $3,000 every month for the last 18 months, $54,000 in total. My son had money, he had plenty of money, and he never paid me a single cent of what he owed me. I sat there, surrounded by evidence of his betrayal, feeling everything click into place. That's why he never found a stable job. He didn't need one. Vanessa's parents were supporting him. That's why she never worked. They had no need. That's why they traveled, ate at expensive restaurants, and bought designer clothes. And I, the fool, believed they were struggling. I believed they needed help. I believed that's why they couldn't pay me. Tears fell onto the papers, blurring the numbers, but this time they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of rage, indignation, absolute humiliation. My son had lied to me for 2 full years. He had looked me in the face and lied. While I skipped meals to save money, he spent thousands on whims. While I worked extra shifts to pay the mortgage on the condo where he lived for free, he received $3,000 monthly deposits and gave me nothing. I took the receipts and the bank statements and stuffed them into my bag. I didn't know why I wanted them. I just knew I needed to have them. I needed evidence that I wasn't crazy, that I hadn't overreacted, that I had every right in the world to do what I did. I left that condo and locked the door. I drove home in my old car that made strange noises. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed up reviewing the papers over and over. Every receipt was a lie. Every deposit was a betrayal. The next day, I didn't go to work. I called in sick. It wasn't a lie. I was sick in my soul, sick with pain, sick with disappointment. I stayed in my pajamas all day, staring at the TV without seeing it. The phone rang several times. I didn't answer. In the afternoon, a text message arrived. It was from an unknown number. "Mrs. Sullivan, this is Christine Montgomery, Vanessa's mother. We need to talk. Could I meet you tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the lounge in the Ritz-Carlton? It's important." I read the message 3 times. Christine Montgomery wanted to see me. The perfect woman, the perfect mother-in-law, the one who, according to my son, was twice the woman I was. My first instinct was to ignore it. What could she want from me? Probably to scold me, to tell me I had been cruel to her son-in-law. But then I looked at the receipts on my coffee table, and something inside me hardened. I replied, "I'll be there." The next day, I got ready with care. I put on my best clothes, did my makeup, styled my hair. I wanted to look dignified, strong. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me destroyed. I arrived at the hotel 15 minutes early. It was an elegant place where a cup of coffee cost what I earned in 2 hours of work. I sat at a table near the window and waited. Christine arrived exactly at 4. She was a woman in her 60 seconds, elegant, impeccably dressed, with that air of someone who has always had money. She wore designer sunglasses that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She sat across from me without smiling. She gestured to the waiter and ordered a black coffee. I ordered chamomile tea because it was the cheapest thing on the menu. When we were alone, Christine took off her glasses and looked me straight in the eyes. Her eyes were hard, calculating, but there was something else there, something I couldn't identify immediately. "Thank you for coming," she said with a controlled voice. "I wasn't sure if I should," I replied honestly. "I understand." She paused. "I suppose you're wondering why I wanted to see you." "Actually, yes." Christine sighed. It was a long, tired sigh. "I came to apologize to you." Those words caught me completely off guard. Apologize? Yes. She looked down at her perfectly manicured hands. Apologize for my daughter, for how we raised her, and for the role my husband and I played in this situation. I didn't know what to say. This was not what I expected. Not at all. "Vanessa told me what happened at your dinner," Christine continued. "She told me her version, of course. But I know my daughter, Rebecca. I know her very well, and I know when she's lying or embellishing the truth." She took a sip of her coffee. "My daughter told me you kicked them out for no reason, that you humiliated them, that you were cruel and vindictive." She paused again. But I asked her, "Were you paying rent?" And Vanessa turned bright red. She told me Adam had promised her it was his condo, that she didn't know they had to pay. "And you believed her?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Christine shook her head. "Vanessa is many things, Rebecca, but she isn't stupid. She knew perfectly well that condo wasn't theirs. The truth is, it was convenient for her to pretend she didn't know." Her words validated me in a way I didn't expect. Someone finally saw the truth. "My husband and I made a terrible mistake," Christine continued. "We spoiled Vanessa. We gave her everything without teaching her the value of anything. And when she married Adam, we kept doing it. We gave them money every month, paid for trips, clothes, whims, without asking if they really needed it." "I know," I said quietly. "I found the bank statements and the receipts." Christine closed her eyes for a moment. "Then you know they had the money to pay you. That they chose not to." "Yes. And yet, you waited 2 years. 2 years, Rebecca. 2 years of being patient while they took advantage of your kindness." Her voice cracked slightly. "I would never have had that patience, not even with my own daughter." Tears began to roll down my cheeks. I couldn't hold them back anymore. Someone understood. Someone saw my pain. "Why are you telling me all this?" I asked through tears. Christine reached across the table and took my hand. Her touch was soft, warm. "Because you deserve to know. Because what Adam said to you at that dinner was unforgivable. And because I am also a mother, Rebecca." And if my daughter had compared me to someone else like that, I would have done exactly what you did. I cried openly now. Christine squeezed my hand. Adam is angry with you, she continued. Vanessa has him convinced that you are the villain, but I know the truth, and I came to tell you that you did nothing wrong. On the contrary, you did what a mother must do, teach, even when it hurts. And now what? I asked, wiping my tears. What's going to happen with my son? Christine let go of my hand and leaned back. Her face grew serious. Now, Rebecca, is when you discover something that is going to hurt you even more, but you need to know it. My heart raced. What thing? She took a deep breath. Vanessa is pregnant. 6 months. The world stopped. My heart stopped beating for a full second. What? She's 6 months pregnant, and she's been hiding it for a long time. In fact, she and Adam knew even before that dinner at your house. Images flashed through my mind like lightning. Vanessa at the dinner, barely touching her food, saying she was watching her weight, the loose clothes she wore. It wasn't a diet. It wasn't vanity. It was a 6-month secret. 6 months, I repeated, feeling my throat close up, and no one told me anything. Vanessa didn't want you to know, Christine explained sadly. She only told me a week ago. She was furious because I insisted they had to tell you. She told me they were going to wait until the baby was at least a year old before informing you. Maybe they were never going to tell you. But why? My voice sounded broken. Why hide that I'm going to be a grandmother for 6 months? Because Vanessa knew you'd want to be involved, that you'd want to help with the pregnancy, go to the doctor's appointments, prepare things for the baby, be present. And she doesn't want that. She wants her family, our family, to be the only one that matters. Each word was a blow. My son had known for half a year that he was going to be a father. He had gone to appointments, seen ultrasounds, heard his child's heartbeat, and he never called me. Adam agreed to this? It wasn't a question, it was a painful realization. Christine nodded slowly, but added something unexpected. At first, he didn't. I found out from my husband that Adam wanted to call you when they found out, but Vanessa told him you had humiliated them, that you had turned your back on them, that you didn't deserve to know. And Adam, weak as he has always been with my daughter, accepted it. And you? How long did you know? Christine looked down in shame. 3 months. I knew 3 months ago and I didn't look for you until now. That is my fault, Rebecca. I told myself it wasn't my place to get involved, that it was their business. But deep down, I knew it was wrong. And I stayed silent like a coward. Her honesty surprised me. And what changed? My husband had a heart attack 5 days ago, she said, her voice breaking. He's in the hospital, stable, but it was serious. The doctors say he needs to change his life completely, reduce stress, change priorities. I'm so sorry, I said sincerely. When George was in the ambulance, Christine continued, he grabbed my hand and said something that broke my soul. He said, Christine, we ruined our daughter. We gave her so much that now she doesn't know how to value anything, not even us. Her eyes filled with tears. We've been married for 30 years, and I had never heard him talk like that. It had always been him who insisted on giving Vanessa everything, on solving every problem, on buying her happiness. She took a shaky sip of her coffee. Vanessa went to visit him in the hospital once. One single time in 5 days. She was there for half an hour, most of the time checking her phone, complaining about the hospital smell. When I told her father could have died, do you know what she said? I waited in silence. She said, but he didn't die, Mom. You're always so dramatic. And then she asked if her father had signed the papers for the house before the heart attack, the house we were going to give them for the baby. The pain in her voice was palpable. Adam didn't go to the hospital either, she added. He sent flowers. Expensive flowers from a fancy florist. But he didn't go. He said Vanessa needed him to be with her because the pregnancy has her sensitive. I sat in silence, processing everything. Part of me wanted to feel satisfaction seeing that Vanessa's parents finally saw what they had created, but I only felt sadness. Sadness for all of us. There is something else you should know, Christine said, pulling a folder from her purse and sliding it across the table. I discovered this reviewing the bank accounts while my husband was in surgery. I opened the folder with trembling hands. They were bank statements, not just the $3,000 monthly transfers I already knew about. There was more, much more. In the last 6 months, Christine explained, since they found out about the pregnancy, my husband has given them an additional $60,000. For the baby, he said, so they would be prepared. $60,000 in 6 months, while they owed me $12,000 from 2 years. Vanessa asked my husband to buy a house in her name. A $400,000 house in an exclusive neighborhood with 4 bedrooms and a pool. Christine looked directly at me, and my husband agreed. The contract was to be signed in 2 weeks. I felt nauseous. Not because of the money itself, but because of what it represented. My son was receiving all of this while telling me I only cared about money, while accusing me of not loving him unconditionally. "Why are you telling me all this?" I asked, my voice a whisper. "Because my husband's heart attack woke me up," Christine said firmly. "Because while he was in that hospital bed connected to machines, I saw the future. I saw a daughter who only looks for us when she needs something. I saw a son-in-law who sees us as ATMs. I saw a grandson who will grow up thinking love is bought and that people are disposable." She wiped her tears. "My husband and I argued yesterday. For the first time in 30 years, we really argued. I told him I wasn't going to sign those house papers, that we weren't going to keep enabling Vanessa, that we needed to stop. And what did he say? First he was angry, then he cried, and finally he admitted I was right, that we've been buying our daughter's affection because we were afraid of losing her. But the truth is, we lost her a long time ago, we just didn't want to see it." Christine took my hand again. "Mrs. Sullivan, I came to tell you that you were right, that what you did that night at dinner was brave, and I came to ask for your forgiveness for the part my family played in distancing your son from you." "You don't have to apologize," I said. "You were just trying to help." "We didn't help," she said firmly. "We bought. There's a huge difference, and now we are paying the price." We stayed in silence for a moment. 2 mothers, 2 different ways of loving, the same painful result. "The baby is due in 3 months, she finally said. "It's a boy. They're going to call him Samuel, Sammy." The name resonated in my heart. My grandson, Sammy. "Vanessa still says you shouldn't meet him," Christine continued. "But I have made a decision. When Sammy is born, I am going to insist that you be present. That child deserves to know his grandmother Rebecca, the grandmother who actually knows what it means to love with sacrifice." "Vanessa and Adam will never allow it," I said sadly. "Then we will tell them the truth," Christine said with a determination I hadn't seen. "We will tell them there will be no house. There will be no more monthly money. That if they want us to continue being part of their lives, they have to start acting like adults. And that includes respecting Adam's mother. I don't want you to use money as a weapon," I said quickly. "That's what hurt me." "It's not using money as a weapon," Christine corrected. "It's stopping using it as a crutch. It's saying, we love you, but we are no longer going to allow you to disrespect us, or yourself, or Rebecca." Her words were strong, brave, but I was also afraid. What if this pushes them further away? What if they decide to cut contact with everyone? Christine smiled sadly. "Then they will learn what it really means to be alone, what it means to have to work, to struggle, to grow up. And maybe, just maybe, when that baby is born and they realize how hard it is to be parents without help, they will remember who was really there for them." She was right, and for the first time in months, I felt like I wasn't alone. "There's one more thing," Christine said, pulling another paper from her folder. It was a check for $12,000, the exact amount they owed me in rent. I looked at the check, my name written in elegant script. "I can't accept this," I said immediately. "They owe me that money, not you." "I know. But they are never going to pay you. And you deserve to get this back. Consider it a payment for all the times my family disrespected you without knowing it." I looked at the check. $12,000. 2 years of rent. Money I desperately needed. My car was dying. I had overdue medical bills, and my roof still leaked. But taking that money felt like giving up, like accepting that Adam would never pay me, would never recognize his responsibility. "Take it," Christine insisted. "Not for you, but for Sammy. Because that baby is going to need a grandmother who is okay, who is whole, who isn't destroyed by a lack of money and respect." She was right. With trembling hands, I took the check. "Thank you," I whispered. "Don't thank me. It's the least we could do." Christine stood up. "Mrs. Sullivan, the next 3 months are going to be hard. Vanessa and Adam are going to resist. They're going to be angry. They're going to say we're all betraying them. But I need you to be strong." "Can you do that?" I stood up too. "I've been strong for 54 years. 3 more months won't kill me." Christine smiled. For the first time, I saw genuine respect in her eyes. "You are stronger than my daughter will ever be." And that is something Adam needs to remember. We said goodbye in the parking lot. Before getting into her luxury car, Christine hugged me, a hug from mother to mother. "Don't give up," she told me. "Sammy needs you, even if he doesn't know it yet." That night, back in my condo, I put the check on my table. $12,000. It wasn't a victory. It was just justice, small, late, but justice nonetheless. And for the first time in a long time, I allowed myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, things could get better. But what I didn't know was that the next few months would teach me that sometimes, before things get better, they have to get a lot worse. 2 weeks passed after my meeting with Christine. 2 weeks where I kept the check without cashing it. I looked at it every night before bed, wondering if cashing it meant giving up or reclaiming my dignity. Finally, I deposited it. I paid my medical bills. I fixed my car. I hired someone to repair the leaky roof. For the first time in years, I could breathe without the constant weight of debt. But the peace didn't last. It was a Tuesday afternoon when I got the call. Unknown number. Rebecca. The voice was Vanessa's, but not the cold, calculated Vanessa I knew. This voice trembled with barely contained fury. "Vanessa," I said, feeling my body tense. "What happened?" "What happened?" Her laugh was bitter, hysterical. "What happened is that you ruined everything. Absolutely everything. I don't understand what you're talking about. My mother," she spat the words like venom. "My mother convinced my father to cancel the house purchase. They said they aren't giving us any more money, that we have to learn to fend for ourselves. And do you know why? Because of you. Because of your damn complaining." My heart beat fast. Christine had done it. She had really done it. "I didn't ask your mother to do anything," I said firmly. "Liar!" Vanessa screamed. "She told us she talked to you, that you told her everything, that you opened her eyes to what bad children we are. You convinced her they were ruining us." "Your mother made her own decisions, Vanessa." "I only what? Only told your version? Only played the victim like you always do?" Adam was right. "You only know how to manipulate people with your martyr act." Her words hurt, but not like before. She no longer had power over me. "If that's what you believe, there's nothing I can say to change it," I replied calmly. "You know what? It doesn't matter anymore. Because we don't need you, and we don't need my parents. Adam is going to get a job, a real job, and we're going to move forward alone. And when our son is born, when Sammy is here, you are never going to be a part of his life." "Vanessa, don't." She hung up. An hour later, my phone rang again. This time, it was Adam. "Mom." His voice sounded tired, defeated. "Why did you do this?" "Son, I didn't do anything. Your mother-in-law made her own choices." "But you talked to her. You told her things about us." "I told her the truth. That you were hiding the pregnancy from me, that you owed me money you never paid, that I had been patient and you treated me like trash. That's all." I heard Adam sigh deeply. Vanessa's parents canceled everything. The house, the allowance, everything. "They say we need to learn to be responsible before Sammy is born." "And they're right." "How can you say that?" His voice rose. "We're going to have a baby in 3 months. 3 months, Mom. How am I supposed to get a job, find a place to live, and prepare everything for a baby in 3 months?" "The same way I did when your father left," I said firmly. "One day at a time. Working, struggling, without expecting someone else to solve your problems. It's different. You didn't have a choice. And you do. The choice to grow up, to be the man your son needs, not the child you've always been." The silence on the other end was long. "I can't believe you're saying this to me," he said finally. "My own son is about to be born, and you're happy to see us suffer." "I'm not happy to see you suffer, Adam. I'm sad that at 25 you still don't understand what responsibility means, but I also have hope that this will finally teach you." "Hope?" He let out a bitter laugh. "You don't have the right to have hope for my life. Not after what you did." "You're right." I said, tears starting to form. I don't have the right. But I'm your mother. And even if you hate me, even if you think I'm your enemy, I'm always going to want the best for you, even when the best hurts. The best would have been for you to support us, to speak well of us to Vanessa's parents, to help us. I helped you for 2 years by giving you a roof for free, and you saw it as something you deserved, not a gift. I'm not making that mistake again. Adam took a deep breath. Vanessa says she doesn't want you to meet Sammy, and I agree with her. Those words pierced me like knives, but I held firm. That's your decision, son, and I will respect it. But I want you to know something. When you're awake at 3 a.m. with a baby who won't stop crying, when you don't know if he's sick or just gassy, when you feel like the worst father in the world because you don't understand what he needs, I'm going to be here waiting. Not to say I told you so, but to help you. Because that's what mothers do. I won't need your help, he said with wounded pride. Maybe not. But if you do, I'll be here. He hung up without saying goodbye. The next 3 months were the strangest of my life. I heard nothing from Adam or Vanessa. Christine wrote to me occasionally to keep me informed. Adam got a job at a logistics company. They moved to a small apartment. Vanessa was very stressed. Each message was a tiny window into the life they were building. A life without the cushion of easy money. A real life. It was December 5th when I received a text. Unknown number. Mrs. Sullivan, this is Christine. Vanessa went into labor this morning. She's at St. Joseph's Medical Center. I thought you should know. I drove to the hospital with my heart in my throat. I didn't know if they'd let me in. I arrived 40 minutes later. I ran to reception. Vanessa Miller is in labor. Floor 3, labor and delivery, but immediate family only. I'm the grandmother, I said firmly. She gave me a visitor's pass. Upstairs, I saw Christine in the waiting room. Rebecca, you came. How is she? Labor is complicated. The baby is in a difficult position. They might need a C-section. Her voice trembled. Adam is with her. He's terrified. I saw him half an hour ago and he could barely speak. Does he know I'm here? Christine shook her head. No, but I think he should. Wait here. She disappeared down a hallway. She returned 5 minutes later. Behind her came Adam. He looked terrible. Deep, dark circles, messy hair, wrinkled clothes. When he saw me, he stopped dead. Mom, he whispered. What are you doing here? I came to be here for you, I said simply. If you'll let me. Something in his face broke, and then my 25-year-old son, the one who had said such cruel things, walked toward me and collapsed into my arms. I'm so scared, he sobbed against my shoulder. I'm so scared, Mom. I held him tight, like when he was a boy, like when nightmares woke him up. I know, son, I whispered, but it's going to be okay. Vanessa is going to be okay, and Sammy is going to be beautiful. What if I'm not a good father? What if I ruin everything? You'll learn, and you'll do better the next day. That's how fatherhood works. We stayed like that for a long moment, a mother holding her son as he prepared to become a father. And in that moment, in that hospital hallway, something began to heal. A nurse came out. Mr. Miller, your wife is asking for you. Adam looked at me. Mom, go, I said firmly. She needs you. I'll be right here. I'm not going anywhere. He nodded and followed the nurse. Christine and I sat together in the waiting room. Thank you for calling me, I told her. Adam needed his mother, she replied simply. Hours passed. 3 p.m., 4 p.m. Christine told me about the last 3 months, how Adam worked double shifts at the warehouse to save money, how Vanessa cried when they had to move, how they bought the baby furniture secondhand. It's been hard for them, Christine said, but necessary. Adam is changing. Slowly, but he is. He doesn't have that spoiled child look anymore. He has dark circles from working, calluses on his hands from lifting boxes, and something in his eyes I haven't seen before. Determination. At 6 p.m., Adam ran out of the delivery suite. They're doing the C-section now. The baby didn't turn and the heart rate is showing signs of stress. He looked pale. Breathe, I said, taking him by the shoulders. Look at me. Breathe with me. We breathe together. Sammy is going to be fine. And Vanessa too. Trust the doctors, and trust that your son is strong. He has your blood, my blood. We are survivors, Adam. He will be too. A nurse appeared with scrubs. Mr. Miller, If you want to be present, you need to change now. I watched him disappear behind double doors. Christine and I stood there, holding hands without realizing it. 20 minutes, 30, 40. Every minute felt like an eternity. And then, at 6:43 p.m., we heard it, the cry of a baby. Strong, clear, perfect. Sammy had been born. Christine and I hugged, crying. Two grandmothers who had fought in different ways for the same goal. That this baby would grow up surrounded by real love, not money and complacency. 15 minutes later, the doors opened. Adam came out in scrubs and a smile that lit up his entire face despite the tears. "He's perfect," he said. "Absolutely perfect. 7 pounds, 8 ounces. 10 fingers, 10 toes." I approached him. "And Vanessa? She's fine. Tired, but fine. They're closing her up. They're taking Sammy to the nursery to check him," and then he stopped, looking at me with tear-filled eyes. "Then you can meet him. If you want." My heart stopped. "Vanessa, I told her you were here, that you came." And she, Adam swallowed. "She said it was okay. She said that after everything that happened today, she realized something. Family is what matters. All of family." I met Sammy through the nursery glass half an hour later. He was tiny, perfect, with a shock of dark hair. When the nurse wrapped him in a blanket and brought him to the window, he opened his eyes. Dark eyes, like Adam's, like mine. "Hi, my love," I whispered against the glass. "I'm your Grandma Becky, and I've been waiting a long time to meet you." An hour later, they let us into Vanessa's room. She was pale, exhausted, but she tried to smile. "Mrs. Sullivan," she said weakly. "Vanessa," I replied softly. "How do you feel?" "Like a truck hit me," she admitted. "But he's worth it. Sammy, he's perfect." A nurse wheeled in the bassinet. Vanessa looked at her son with pure love. "Hi, my love. I'm your mommy, and I'm going to take care of you always, I promise. Do you want to hold him?" Vanessa looked at me, extending Sammy toward me. With trembling hands, I took my grandson for the first time. He was so small, so fragile. I held him to my chest. "Hi, Sammy," I whispered. "I want you to know something. This world can be hard sometimes. You're going to make mistakes. Your parents are going to make mistakes. We're all going to fail. But the important thing is to keep trying. Keep loving. Keep growing." I looked at Adam. He was watching me with an expression I hadn't seen in years. "Mom," he said softly, "do you think we can start over?" "We can't start over," I replied honestly. "We can't erase what happened, but we can start from here. We can build something new, something better." The first few days after Sammy was born were chaotic. Vanessa went home 3 days later. Adam had taken a week off, but he looked more tired than ever. I went to visit them at the small apartment. When Adam opened the door, he looked wrecked. Unwashed hair, 3-day beard, shirt stained with formula. "Mom," he said with a sigh of relief, "thank God you're here." I went inside. Vanessa was on the sofa in her pajamas, eyes red from crying. "What happened?" I asked. "He won't stop crying," Adam said, his voice near breaking. "We've had 2 nights without sleep. We fed him, changed him, held him. Nothing works. And Vanessa is so tired she can barely stand." I took Sammy from his arms. He was screaming, his face beet red. I held him against my shoulder, positioned him a certain way, and started firm, rhythmic pats on his back. "How long after eating did he burp?" I asked. Adam and Vanessa looked at each other. "Burp?" Adam asked. "I don't know. Is he supposed to?" "Always," I replied, continuing the pats. A minute later, Sammy let out a massive burp and, like magic, stopped crying. "How did you do that?" Vanessa asked in awe. "Babies swallow air when they eat. If they don't burp, their stomach hurts. That's why he's crying." I rocked him gently. "Didn't they teach you this at the hospital?" "They gave us a packet," Adam admitted. "But it was so much and we were so tired, we didn't process anything." I sat on the sofa next to Vanessa. "It's okay," I said softly. "No one is born knowing how to be a parent. You learn day by day, error by error." Vanessa started to cry, not a dramatic cry, but one of pure exhaustion. "I can't do this. I thought I could. I thought love would be enough, but I have no idea what I'm doing." And my mom comes over for an hour and then leaves because she says the crying gives her a headache. And I'm here alone all day while Adam works, and I don't know if Sammy is hungry or cold or sick. I passed Sammy to Adam and put my arm around Vanessa. Vanessa, breathe. You're going to be okay. Sammy is okay. Look at him. He's healthy, he's clean, he's fed. You are doing things right. It doesn't feel like it, she sobbed. That's how motherhood feels the first few days, I told her. I remember crying every night when Adam was a baby. I thought I was the worst mother in the world, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I kept trying, and little by little, I learned. Vanessa wiped her eyes. I feel like I need to apologize to you properly, not just in the hospital when I was scared. I was horrible to you. I treated you like you didn't matter. And all because... She struggled with the words. Because I was jealous of you. That surprised me. Jealous? Yes. Adam loved you so much. He spoke about you with such affection when we started dating, and I wanted him to see me like that. So I started making little comments that your clothes were out of style, that your car was old. Slowly, I convinced Adam that you weren't enough. Not because I really believed it, but because I wanted him to stop comparing me to you and start seeing only me. Her words were brutally honest, and when my parents started treating him like a son, she continued, I felt validated. I felt like I had won. But now, she looked at Sammy. Now that I have my own son, I understand. I understand what you sacrificed. I understand that there is no competition. There never was. It was just my insecurity. I took her hand. Vanessa, raising a child is the hardest thing in the world. I don't want to compete with you for Adam's love. I want to help you. I want Sammy to grow up with two grandmothers who respect and support each other. I want that too, she said, and I'm so sorry for pushing you away. The following days, we established a routine. I went every morning. I taught them the basics, how to bathe him, how to change diapers properly, how to tell if he had a fever. Adam absorbed every lesson like a sponge. Seeing my son become a father was beautiful and painful. One afternoon, Adam and I were alone while Vanessa slept. Mom, Adam said suddenly, can I ask you something? Did you ever regret having me? Be honest. Never, I said firmly. Not for a single second. But your life would have been easier without me. You could have remarried, traveled. Adam, look at me. You weren't a sacrifice. You were my purpose. Yes, it was hard, but I never, ever considered you a burden. Then why did I always feel like I was one? Because I made a mistake, I admitted. I loved you by showing you how much you cost me. Love that is measured in sacrifice becomes a debt. I didn't learn to separate my love from my struggle, and you carried both. Adam wiped his eyes. I made mistakes too. Huge ones. I let money and pride blind me, and I let my pride keep me from you when I should have reached out. We both failed, I said softly. But we are here now. A month after Sammy was born, they invited me to dinner. Vanessa had cooked just pasta and salad, but she did it herself. We want to tell you something, Adam said after dinner. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. We know Christine already gave you the rent money, but that money came from her, not us. And we need to make this right. He passed me the envelope. Inside was a check for $1,000 and a note. First payment of $12. We love you, Mom. Tears rolled down my face. You don't have to. Yes, we do, Adam interrupted. You were right. We had a responsibility, and we didn't meet it. It will take a year. Adam is working extra shifts. I started working from home doing digital marketing, Vanessa added. Between the two of us, we saved $1,000 this month. And every month for the next 11 months, you're going to get that payment until the $12,000 is paid back by us, not my parents. It won't be easy, Adam admitted. It means fewer nights out, no luxuries, but we need to do it for Sammy, to teach him that promises are kept, that debts are paid, that responsibility matters. I looked at them both, young, tired, struggling, but trying. 6 months later, my life was completely different. Every month, on the first day, I received that $1,000 check. I cashed them all. Out of respect for their effort, I used the money to invest in myself. I took a bookkeeping course. I updated my wardrobe. I got a new haircut. And every time they visited, they saw a different woman. I wasn't the exhausted, invisible mother anymore. I was Rebecca, a woman who had learned that loving herself wasn't selfish. It was necessary. Sammy was growing fast. At 6 months, he was laughing and rolling over. One afternoon, Adam called me. "Mom, are you busy?" Sammy just said his first word. What did he say? I heard Vanessa cheering in the background, and then I heard it faint but clear. Mama. He said mama. I cried. Yeah. Adam's voice was thick with emotion. We've been trying to get him to say Dada all day, but he's stubborn. Vanessa is crying happy tears. A year after that terrible February dinner, they invited me over. The apartment was decorated with balloons. "What's all this?" I asked. "It's a celebration," Vanessa said. "Tomorrow is exactly 1 year since that dinner, the dinner that changed everything." Adam approached with a large envelope. "And it's also the day we give you this." It was a check for $3,000, the final payment, and a letter. I read it aloud. "Dear Mom, a year ago I said the cruelest words a son could say. I compared you to someone else and destroyed years of love with one stupid sentence, but you didn't give up on me. This year taught me more about life than all the years before. I learned what it means to work for something. I learned that true love isn't bought with mansions. Vanessa and I have paid you $9,000 so far. This final check of $3,000 completes the debt. $12,000 paid with honest work. It wasn't easy. But each check made us feel more worthy. Now I understand what you felt all those years. Now I understand that you were always enough. You were everything. I ask for your forgiveness. I love you, and now I finally know how to show it. Your son, Adam." We all cried. I hugged my son. "I'm so proud of you." Vanessa approached with Sammy. "Rebecca, I wrote something too. Thank you for showing me that being a mother isn't about giving everything without limits. It's about loving with wisdom. I hope one day to be half the woman you are. I'm 55 now. I learned that being a mother doesn't mean disappearing. It means teaching. It means showing by example that self-respect is non-negotiable." Last week, Sammy took his first steps. He crawled to my leg, pulled himself up, and looked at me with pride. "You did it, my love," I told him. And I realized that was my role. Not to carry him always, but to be there when he tried to stand up. If there's one thing I want this story to teach, it's this. Mothers, do not lose yourselves in the love for your children. Do not turn your love into chains of guilt and debt. Love with boundaries. Love with self-respect. And if one day your children speak cruel words to you, remember, you are not less for demanding respect. You are stronger for not accepting less than you deserve. A mother's love is the most powerful thing in the world, but only when it is accompanied by self-love. Share this story with someone who needs it. With a mother losing herself. With someone who needs to remember that saying no is sometimes the most loving act of all. My story continues every day, every time I hold Sammy, every time Adam calls just to ask how I am. And if my story helps even one person find their strength, then every tear was worth it. Because in the end, it's not just about being a mother. It's about being a human being whole, dignified, and loved, starting with yourself.